Hi, guys. This is Jessica with Whispers of Grace Healing. I am here to bring forth a message from Spirit. Um, they're having us do a little bit of a story time today. So we pulled from different books and from one of my oracle decks to kind of put it all together as we go. So today's topic is about the acceptance within relationships or within partnerships, and that's partnership with yourself and with others. A lot of it has to do with being vulnerable, honest, and courageous with yourself in order to allow others to really see you, and how a lack of self-confidence within your own body and the way that you allow people to see you can severely affect the way that our partnerships evolve. So, hey, Kara, hey, Tanya. But yeah, so they started off with When Soulmates Unite by Christina Renee Joubert. And I'm just going to read this and then we'll kind of talk about it and then go to the next part of this conversation. So it starts out, pretty if I'm, pretty if I'm, pretty if I'm. I don't think I've ever really seen myself as others who are close to me see me, as a sum of my parts, each part working together to create a beautiful, fallible person inside and out. That conditioning has also kept me from being able to become truly intimate with myself and others. And so, my friends, I disclose to you today all that I have hidden from view, even from those who have loved me. I made a commitment to get intimate with you all, and so here it goes. When I was 17 years old, I started going bald on both sides of my head. Tension alopecia, they call it. My hair has never grown back. I hide my baldness with extensions and prayers that the wind doesn't blow, and when it does blow, I look down hoping no one sees me or the bald spots. When I was 19 years old, I started to develop the classic cottage cheese thighs. Yes, 19. Can you believe it? Horrifying. I was 110 pounds, naturally toned everywhere else on my body with chunky thighs. I used to loathe them. I thought they defined me. I still hide my thighs. I don't wear shorts or skirts that are above the knee. I wear cover-ups over my bikini. Not that I've been in one of those for some time. But even though I'm more comfortable covering my thighs, I no longer hate them. I no longer think they define me. When I was 25 years old, I got veneers on my two front teeth because I had a gap in my teeth that I hated all my life. Even though most say they never noticed, it glared at me. So I covered it up. I like my teeth this way, by the way. When I was 32 years old, I had a baby, and well, let's just say nothing is where it used to be, and nothing looks like it used to look. Battle scars, I call them. I wouldn't say there's pride attached to those battle scars, but there's meaning. I'm okay with them. When I don't have makeup on my face, and it's been a while since my bare skin has been sun-kissed, my face is really, really pale, and it kind of looks green. At least I think so. I don't like that. So I spend a few minutes here and there bathing in the sun without makeup, and when I need to or want to, I cover my face with makeup. I don't have the complexion I wish I had been born with, but I'm learning to love my alternatives. Besides a few minutes sitting in the sun, letting it bathe me in its warmth, feels really amazing sometimes. And bonus, my complexion looks fab after. And finally, I have never really liked my wake up morning look for all the aforementioned reasons. I've always shied away from the beautiful, intimate opportunity to enjoy being next to someone in the morning hours, sharing closeness and intimacy when both of us are relaxed, physically connected, and open spiritually and energetically. When the opportunity presents itself, I think I'll bask in the glory of the chance to finally appreciate my own vulnerability in that moment as well as my partner's. and I'll be open to us connecting with each other, be open to the intimacy. So why am I telling you all this? Because I'm learning that once we get naked with ourselves, perhaps literally, and begin to own the parts of us, emotional, physical, mental, that we don't like, we have the opportunity to embrace these parts and allow others to embrace them too. We have the opportunity to embrace intimacy with ourselves and with one another. We no longer have to hide these parts of ourselves. I'm not necessarily suggesting that we need to celebrate them, but we don't have to hide them from the people who care about us, love us, and appreciate us for all that we are rather than all that we are not or pretend to be. We don't have to shy away from their embrace or their engagement out of fear that one day they'll really see those imperfections and change their minds about us being being attractive to them or worthy of their praise or admiration. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no desire to go frolicking on the beach in a bikini without a cover up that hits my knees or falls just above them. I'll never be a big fan of wind, and I will never stop wearing extensions, not because I want to hide anymore, but because I like them. But I will also never let those imperfections stop me from becoming intimate with someone the way they used to, even in my marriage, by the way. I will never let these imperfections dictate how I should feel about myself or how others feel about me. I'll never let them ever again suggest that I am not deserving of the compliment of being breathtakingly beautiful, because I am a beautiful person. I've got a big, beautiful heart that's worthy of taking someone's breath away. My guess is that you do too. And believe it or not, when people get to know us, that's what they see. They see the sum of our parts, not our imperfections. Our imperfections don't define us, friends. They give us meaning, character, personality, and texture. They make us human and keep us connected to the very nature of one another, man's humanity to man. Little did I know that this man's little or big compliment would inspire me to get naked and intimate with you, damn near literally. And for the record, I've never shared with anyone the things that I've shared with you here. In rapid succession, people I've been close to have noticed these imperfections, of course, but I've never acknowledged or embraced them in turn. I just distanced myself from the people and the parts of me that I thought made me ugly, unattractive, or unlovable. I created space where intimacy could have resided, not anymore. Do yourself a favor and go look in the mirror, the literal and proverbial mirror. Define your parts inside and out, and then sum yourself up. My guess is that you're pretty damn breathtakingly beautiful or handsome too. Perhaps I was gifted with these imperfections so that I could share them with you. There's meaning in everything and everyone. Here's to the search for meaning, even when it's cheesy. Pun totally intended. Wah wah. So I think we've all been through this, guys. Like, where we have been conditioned to look at our flaws and everyone else's and yet still try to obtain perfection. And we feel like the moment that someone sees our imperfections or that we are perfectly human, we're scared that the other person is going to run and that we're not going to be worth it. But what is the sum of us? And I think that's where my journey changed was, and I still get caught up in it. And sometimes it's still, I have these moments of insecurity, and that's okay. One of the biggest messages that I've been receiving lately is that, so many in the spiritual community talk about being love and light all the time and being happy all the time. And it's not humanly possible. What we want you to understand is that no matter what emotion you're feeling, if it's a lower vibrational or it's uncomfortable, because there are going to be moments where you are made uncomfortable, whether it is about yourself or your experiences or your own situation. There are going to be moments that you become angry, resentful, sad, depressed. We just don't want you to live in it. We want you to be with it and understand that there is something that can be done depending on what it is. It can be changed, or there is an alternative, and we can embrace those alternatives. But I think it's when we get honest with ourselves and understand that the vulnerability with yourself allows the opportunity for people to really see you. And also, it gives everyone the opportunity, you see where people stand. If they see one fault in you, one thing that makes you perfectly human, and they decide to run, that's not your person. That person they're not committed to your evolution, to your well-being. And if it's so conditional that one thing about us, whether it's, our hair, our looks, our scars, our emotional wounds, like, if you were going to spend your life with someone, shouldn't it include all of it? And if we can't let ourselves be truly us, then we're walking around with a mask the entire time. That suffocates the soul. So take a look in the mirror today and sum it up, because you are a beautiful person. You have a beautiful heart and a beautiful mind, and you are so deserving of the love and admiration that is available to you. So then they lead us to the soulmate path. And this is by Monty Farber and Amy Zerner. So Monty was talking about a period in their life where they were dealing with a lot of sickly family members, and he's the masculine here, and he was talking about how the being in savior mode, like being the one that's held accountable, like he thrives in that situation. And I've noticed a lot of masculines are like that. They do best when they have a job and they are needed, right? And it's just for the simple fact that he loves this woman and loves their family. He says, Amy's praise is the foregoing paragraphs is the only medal of honor this man needs to feel like a true warrior. It is the acknowledgement by his divine feminine saying, you are needed, you are loved, you are seen, you are supported. And I encourage you to take your role, right? I know you're showing up for me. I know you're showing up when things are rough, right? And I allow you to. And I know you are going to be there because I can count on you, okay? The funny thing is that the major exceptions being the times when we needed to help Jesse and Rena, Amy and I are busier now than ever now. However, we now know that you have to make your life into something that you can handle without making yourself sick. And I think this is where a lot of us get caught up, and we'll dive into that conversation later, because there's a big correlation between empaths and addicts. And we sacrifice so much for the people that we love that it ends up taking from us to the point that we make ourselves sick, where there's nothing else to give. That is not a healthy balance. You have to be honest with what you can handle so that you do not lose yourself in the process. This takes absolute honesty with yourself, each other, and with the many people who want something from you, even if it's just to go out to dinner. You have every right to say, no, I don't want to. Okay? Amy and I long ago realized that we have control freak and perfectionist tendencies that we must always monitor. I came late to realizing I was a perfectionist because I figured that I couldn't be a perfectionist since I wasn't very perfect. And this is something that I think a lot of us go through, of trying to obtain to be the perfect image in order to be accepted and validated. So the secret, working towards goals together, is the essence of a living, breathing partnership. Give support as needed. Concentrate and focus your energy on positive goals: health, fitness, creativity, spiritual growth. When you share love, you can enjoy knowing that you are helping your partner to live to the fullest. This is the secret of true joy and happiness in a committed relationship. Our relationship is as successful as it is because we have both decided it is the most important thing in our lives. And when you are truly dedicated to your relationship, both parties, you'll do what it takes to make sure that you both succeed. And when one is fallible, the other steps in, and you work towards that goal together. So in chapter 8, it's labeled How to Meet Your Soulmate, Accept No Substitutes. Meeting your soulmate is one of the most worthwhile things you can do. We wake up every morning knowing that we are two of the luckiest people in the world to be so in love. Everything we learn about life reinforces that knowing. If you have not yet experienced such a connection, you have something wonderful to look forward to. The media is filled with stories of the most famous, accomplished, beautiful, rich, and powerful people who seem to have it all, yet who can't fully enjoy their success because they lack a soulmate to share it with. But believe us, if you put your efforts into becoming yourself fully and do your best to realize your potential and find out who you are and what you are capable of, you will become the kind of person your soulmate will want to meet and stay with. And the secret here is soulmates work on their relationships by working on themselves. You know you have found your soulmate when you enjoy just watching your partner live, and you desire to make your partnership work and to be there for each other in every way. Okay? So, and a lot of things about expectations have been coming up, and how giving and receiving love, like love languages, right? So many people end up having this issue with the way that our trauma has conditioned us. We feel like we need love in a certain way. Well, when we get into a relationship and everyone gives and receives differently, sometimes we tend to overlook the way that our partner is communicating love to us because it is not the way that we tend to receive it best. It's not the confirmation that we're looking for. So then we think, oh, they don't really love us, and we overlook the things that they do, that they are communicating in their own way. So it's important for us to learn not only how do we give and receive love, but how does our partner give and receive love? And then also acknowledging that they're doing that, or say, I love when you do this for me because it makes me feel this. Right? Like, give your partner the confirmation that we all want and need to say, what I'm doing for my partner is seen and appreciated. Okay? So, what they're bringing forth with our oracle cards today, we have the mystic of peace. I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear. The presence of the divine feminine at the center of everything. There is light, and I am that light. And Mary of Nazareth, the Mother of God, I am blessed, and my courage gives birth to the divine. So We're going to read these, and this should tie everything in together. 158. So here we go. When your soul selects her card, Albert Einstein reportedly said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Clarity only comes from clarity. There is a peace and calm that exists far beneath the constant banter most of us listen to all day within our minds. Jungian author Clarissa Pinkola Estes calls it the river beneath the river. It's the steady flow of the universal life force that wants us to reach our goal if we can only get still enough to merge with it. withIN Taoism translate as doing nothing. It is a sacred feminine art of trusting the force of life that exists within all of us. Zoe mastered this spiritual practice by calming her mind and experiencing the still center that's at the eye of every storm. Zoe is a call for us to be still, to do nothing other than shift our awareness, come out of the current state of mind we're in before making any moves or decisions. She reminds us that we only want to take action when what is moving us is the force of love at the heart of everything. So, and this is why they're bringing up the divine feminine and accepting everything that we are and everything that we represent. And the whole thing we started with was not only accepting how we are in our physical body, but what's at the center, the heart. And that beautiful heart is what everyone tends to see most, the sum of it all. Your character, your grace, your dignity, your morals. That's what people are drawn to. And when you accept the divine feminine presence and you allow yourself to be calm, to be still, and come to the center of it all, the heart space, acceptance and flow happens. It is a natural thing because we're not resisting, we're not forcing, we're not controlling what's unfolding for us. And usually when we fight it is when things get out of hand. So moving into the divine feminine presence. So who is she? Let's start there. So Shekinah represents the omnipresence and immanence of the divine feminine. The word Shekinah in Hebrew means to settle, to inhabit, or to dwell. It represents an experience of the divine presence right here in the body and in the world. In Kabbalism, mystical Judaism, the Shekinah is the feminine aspect of God, and she's depicted as a piercing, radiant light. She is the experience of the presence of God within us as the soul of God. To the Kabbalist, honoring the feminine is of the utmost importance. This is why the red thread of protection is worn on the left wrist, which is the receiving feminine side of the body. In Kabbalistic teachings, the Shekinah is represented in the tree of life as the pillar of balance. She is the force that unites the opposites. She brings heaven to earth, and she unites the body and soul. Because of her, there can be a direct path of communion between humanity and divinity. Because of her, we can experience God right here in this moment and right here in the body. In the Zohar, the main sacred text in Kabbalah, and the Shekinah is described as being a world within the world, as a bright radiance at the center of everything. All life on earth, all consciousness is part of her light and therefore sacred. The metaphysical theory of immanence is that the divine presence is manifested in the material world. So there isn't actually any matter, whether organic or inorganic, that isn't also part of the divine. The Sikna is light and that inhabits your body, your cells, and is in the cells of all the people and objects you see around you. She is also about pure experience. She is the message, the truth that there is a light at the center of everything that happens to be us, both the good and the bad. And the Sekna is a reminder that we are not just this body or this pain we might be going through or this confusing moment in our brief life. We are light. We are molecules of heaven in human form. And right now, we can just know this. We can experience the light we are, and that can be enough. That can be the miracle and the answer we need. Not words or meaning, but simply and more profoundly pure, radiant being. My ears are ringing off the hook. And it's true. This is about the embodiment of all, mind, body, soul, and accepting everything that we are. Okay. So then, Mary of Nazareth. So I am blessed and my courage gives birth to the divine. And this is like, again, accepting the soul molecules of God and bringing that light into here so that we can all experience. And that's all through the heart, guys. The sum of you is exactly what this world needs. And it's time to embrace that. Let that character, let that grace, let that, the moral code, that divinity, that sovereignty, right? Live in the image of God. That's what this world needs. Okay. So here we go. I've always imagined that Mary was terrified to hear an angel loudly announcing that she was meant to be the mother of God. Her surrender to Gabriel's words feels so courageous and too unacknowledged. Mary has no idea that she will have to meet with what will be asked of her or what this love for her son will put her through. But she says yes nonetheless so that she can be in service of the divine. Mary's acceptance of her role has been in the shadow of the Christian story, uncelebrated because she is seen as so divine. But she was human too. She could have said no. Her courage could have faltered, but she aligned with the light. She heard Gabriel's words, "Be not afraid," and allow the divine story to work through her life. And she let joy dictate her response. Mary leads us to trust that we can say yes to what feels light. It doesn't have to make sense or work with the timeline the ego has mapped out for us. In the midst of our ordinary, everyday lives, we can say yes to the angel who greets us in the space of our heart and let the energy of joy give birth to the divine through us. So ask yourself, am I in service to the light within me? And what are you doing to cultivate that joy, that presence, that forgiveness, and the acceptance of what is? What are you doing to cultivate more light in your life? And how are you cultivating the light within? And however that needs to play out, what can you do to accept yourself more today? Again, look in the mirror, literally and proverbially. So those are today's messages, guys, and I hope they find you well. I love you all so much, and I wish you nothing but love, abundance, and everything to be grateful for. But again, if y'all don't know, if this is your first time to the channel, I welcome you. And if you need help with any of these processes of accepting the light, finding the light, or just moving through the personal triggers and releasing these walls so that you can embrace yourself and the people around you, let me know, and I will be there to support you along the way. I will talk to you soon.